Hello, I'm Patty Jones. I'm the Associate Director for Research. Welcome to the Beckman Institute. Welcome to the Arnold Beckman Rotunda. This building is 313,000 square feet, and about 1,000 people work here every day across a variety of different research areas. So let's go into the main atrium and I'll tell you a little bit more about the architecture of this building. So our building is more than 30 years old, and as you can see, it's still beautiful. We have this gigantic atrium with the skylights. And the concept of the atrium is that it's meant to feel like Main Street. It actually has these Main Street-like lights in it. And at the other end of the atrium, we have a cafe and a big auditorium and other spaces for large groups. And the atrium is often used for gatherings and poster sessions as well. So the idea about Beckman is it's all about collaboration. And so the one mailroom and the one cafe on the first floor here is a way for people to come together and run into each other and have those kind of serendipitous collaboration experiences. When Beckman was founded, the research agenda of this building was the study of intelligence, which included both natural biological intelligence as well as silicon or artificial intelligence. That is similar to what we still do today in terms of our three research themes of intelligent systems, molecular science and engineering, and integrative imaging. One of the newest things that we've done to the building is we've built this new little museum here, which is in honor of magnetic resonance imaging. And this has a history even before MRI became a fairly widespread technology in hospitals and care settings. Paul Lauterbur was well known for his work on magnetic resonance imaging. He was hired by the University of Illinois in 1984, and he stayed here until his death in 2007. In 2003, he won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his work on MRI. And this exhibit is showcasing the first two human MRI machines, and these are the actual machines that were found by us in a storage locker in Urbana, that we have built them back up here to show something very similar to the original settings. We're very proud of the University of Illinois' historic contributions to the field of nuclear magnetic resonance research and magnetic resonance imaging. And these other displays around the room will tell you more about the history, the people, and the technological advances of that. We also have over here in this case a copy of Paul Lautebur's Nobel Prize itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and head upstairs to take a look out of the 5th floor tower room and see a great view of the Beckman Quad. So Beckman Institute was built for collaboration, and there's a number of features that we'll see as we go through our tour. We have lots of meeting rooms because we want to bring people together and support all that interdisciplinary collaboration. So here on the 5th floor, in addition to a seminar room over here on the left, I'll show you the tower room that we have over here. So all the floors are kind of designed the same way. You come off the elevator, you go around a pod structure, and then you have different labs and offices on this office side. This right here is the visualization lab. This is one of the core facilities of the Beckman Institute. That includes, as you can see, computers that support image processing softwares. And there's always a beautiful walkway to the tower room that you can see here. So up here on the 5th floor tower room, you can see we have a great view of the Beckman Quad. On the left, we have our neighbors of the Coordinated Sciences Lab, Hydro Systems Lab, and Digital Computer Lab on the left. And on the right, we have the new Electrical Computer Engineering Building, and the Micro Nanotechnology Lab, and the old Kenny Gym on the end there. And the building we're looking at straight down the quad is the Granger Engineering Library. The architect of this building, the Smith Group, is also the same architectural firm that built the new modern building next door, the Electrical and Computer Engineering Building. Here, of course, we have our poster printers. I do think of each set of offices in Beckman as a neighborhood, and between the offices there is large spaces that are suitable for setting up collaborative spaces, and that's what we're going to see next on the 4th floor. This is the Biophotonics Imaging Lab. So this is where the magic happens in terms of folks working on the next generation of biophotonic imaging technologies. And as you can see here, this group has published a lot of great research in a variety of journals, and they have some examples of their publications here. And this is one of our newer neighborhoods. This is the administrative offices for the Cancer Center at Illinois. The Cancer Center initially was a cancer center research community that was incubated here at Beckman, and now it has the status of an institute that's at the same level of Beckman, and eventually they'll get their own building. But for now, the director and his staff are all here in this neighborhood of Beckman. So now let's go downstairs and I'll show you another key collaboration neighborhood of Beckman. So the fourth floor tends to be imaging research, and the third floor tends to be molecular science and engineering research. Welcome to one of the founding neighborhoods of Beckman. This is, as you can see on the sign there, the Theoretical and Computational Biophysics Group, or TCB. They have been a group within Beckman ever since the building was built. The TCB group is world famous for their research on computational molecular dynamics simulations, including their main product, which is NAMD, which stands for Not Another Molecular Dynamic Simulation, and the visual molecular dynamics software that goes with that. There are offices for faculty, students, and postdocs from computer science, physics, biochemistry, and other related areas. So it's a great example of interdisciplinary collaboration. As you can see here, they have their own espresso bar and they have their own wall of journal covers that they've been producing for years. They've been an NIH Center for Macromolecular Modeling for the last 20-some years now. So again, they're world famous not only for their work on developing software, but on the innovations they made in understanding molecular dynamics processes. One of the most famous covers is this one right here. This is from the journal Nature in 2013. This is their computational model of the HIV capsid, the protein shell that surrounds the HIV virus. So they were the people that figured out how to model that. So that's one of the most famous outcomes of this research. And as you can see, because of their highly computational work, they have these giant monitors for everybody, because most of the time people are working on very detailed atomic scale models of molecular processes, and so they need this very large visualization palette to do that with. So let's go across the hall now to the laboratory side. One of the other features of Beckman is that in between the laboratory and the office wings, we have these little areas for people. This is an example of a very nice little area where you have your whiteboard, table and chair, and also a great view of the atrium below. And again, this is, just a beautiful building to be in. So these are the dry labs in which the research here is mostly related to lasers and optical imaging. So we have a quantitative light imaging laboratory, Center for Optical Molecular Imaging, and that's a special laboratory right in here. And other labs on this side include a variety of things related to imaging and molecular science and engineering. Soon we'll get to sort of the crossing point where we go into wet labs. And on this floor we have wet labs related to chemistry, and we also have a fish lab, which we'll take a look at the fish tank right up here. We have just sort of a display tank here of a variety of different kinds of fish. And actually within the lab there's actually a focus on clownfish, which is the same kind of fish as Finding Nemo, and looking at a variety of factors related to behavior and the neurobiology of clownfish. And we have more YouTube videos about this on our Beckman Institute YouTube channel. So now let's go downstairs and take a look at some of our core facilities. So welcome to the basement, and right away we will come down this main hallway here to visit the microscopy suite. So again, this is one of the core facilities of Beckman, and it's managed by Scott Robinson with Kate, Dianwen, and Lele, who work with students, usually with students directly, on imaging their samples. And so we have kind of one of every sort of microscope that you can think of in our microscopy suite. So let's just take a quick look to see what we have. We have a prep lab area for people to use. We have a fluorescent microscope over here. And hi, Scott. And this is Scott Robinson, who is the manager of the microscopy suite. And he has a wonderful new machine here, which is our new scanning transmission electron microscope. So Scott, would you like to tell about this machine?
Okay, this is a brand new to us scanning transmission electron microscope. Presently we're working with somebody who wants to look at wheat leaves, and we can look at cross sections 90 nanometers thick of those leaves. What we have in here is, this is a high pressure freezing setup, stereology workstation, our inspection microscope with dark field in it. This is an atomic force microscope. The atomic force microscope allows us to see things that are on the order of atoms. This is the environmental scanning electron microscope. This is what we use for bug scope.
Alrighty, so let's go over here to the VisLab's photography studio. This room has a number of resources for photography. A 100 megapixel camera. Over here we have a 2 million frame per second camera that's used for all kinds of really interesting biological processes. And then this machine right here is a 3D scanner. And the physically biggest project we ever did with this scanner is a virtual alma mater that was done as a project several years ago. As the real alma mater statue was being restored in a conservatory studio in Chicago, she wasn't going to be ready to be here for commencement ceremonies that year. So the campus decided that we wanted a virtual alma app for smartphones, so you can still take a picture of your graduating student near the statue. So Travis Ross, the manager of the VisLab, took this 3D scanner up to Chicago and spent a few days scanning this giant 18-foot statue and collected more than 4 billion data points of imaging data from it, which we then handed over to NCSA to reduce and to make into an app. So we're very proud of this bit of history that we were part of for the Public Affairs group at the University of Illinois. So let's go ahead and walk down the hall to see now the Biomedical Imaging Center. Welcome to the control room of the one of our 3T Siemens Prisma machines. This is the control room where it is safe to be. And here we have not only the workstation that we use to run the scanner, we also have some other specialized equipment. So normally what happens is the technician who is running the machine is sitting right here, and he or she is setting up all the scans we're going to do. Now they have this microphone so they can talk to the human subject who is in there. And that is the shielded room where the actual machine is. So if you look in there, you'll see that we have a big Siemens Prisma machine that's a 3 Tesla field strength MRI scanner. So it's the same kind of technology you would see in a hospital, although our setup is also meant for research. The other cool thing that we have is this box over here. This is a resounding box, and this is a machine that controls airflow through this plastic tube to a little pillow that would be behind your head in the scanner. And that's how we do MR elastography studies. So elastography is the study of tissue stiffness, or how elastic or stiff some tissue is. So here we use that little pillow to put it behind your head, and we can use it to measure the tissue stiffness of parts of your brain. So let's keep going. So now we're going to go all the way to the other side of the building where we have our newest magnet. It is a Bruker system. It's a 9.4 Tesla field strength, which is pretty high. And it is a small 30 centimeter bore that's meant for animal. In here, there's the actual Bruker MRI scanner. You can see that it's much smaller, and the things you can slide in there are going to be, much smaller, but it has much better field strength, and so you can get really great images, very high clarity and quality. So, as I said, we're looking forward to having lots of really interesting imaging studies done here as well. So, I'd like to thank you for joining me today on this tour of the Beckman Institute. Please come back anytime to enjoy our cafe, attend a research event, and please follow us on social media, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter and Instagram. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.